How to Move On When the Circus is Gone by AsukaRose. Summary: the circus is over, and suddenly Pomni has to figure out how to be human again. When it was all over, Pomni didn't know what to do with herself. Her time in the circus had changed her in a way she would never be able to fully describe, a way no one would understand unless they had experienced the same. But there was no one who would experience the same, right? Because it didn't happen. She had hoped that once she was out, she would find relief and joy, and at first she did. She felt free, no longer under Kane's watch, and finally able to have her own life. But what is a life of your own after living in a different reality for 2 years? But it wasn't really 2 years, right? Because, yeah, she was only gone for 2 months. 2 years of being a computer program, and now having to learn to survive in a normal life again. She had to learn to eat and sleep regularly again, and her limbs were no longer familiar. If she hadn't received a large transfer of money to her bank account as a goodbye from a strange number, she would have thought she was crazy. Sometimes she still thinks she is. She found out that her previous job had fired her because she wouldn't show up, but if she was honest, she didn't believe she could continue to work there after 2 years. So she needed a new job. Money was enough for a while, but not for forever. But for 2 months, she tried everything to find out what happened. As she woke up, she was in the hospital bed. The doctor told her that she was missing for 2 months and was found 3 days ago, unconscious in the middle of the woods. Her muscles were weakened because she had apparently not moved for a while, and she was a little dehydrated, but there were no other injuries to be found. Completely healthy, with a little help, and after a week, she was able to walk with help. No one believed her as she talked about her experience. Not her friends, nor her family, not the hospital, nor the police. Even with the money someone had sent her, no one wanted to investigate. So she tried alone. As soon as she was released and could walk halfway, she got a board and read wool, like she had seen in movies. She wrote down all the things she could remember. She tried to find all the connections between her and the circus, and connect everything, but soon realized it wasn't leading her anywhere. All her leads were dead ends, and everyone she asked for help just told her she had to move on. Online searches also led nowhere. Pomni, no, Veronica, had to admit to herself that she couldn't go on living her life like this. She couldn't bring herself to throw away the board with all the theories she had made, but after 2 more months where it was unchanged and she realized that the same time had passed as she was apparently gone, she put it in the basement. She applied for new jobs and desperately tried to get her life back on track. Only then did she remember her old YouTube account. After everything that had happened, her small account with just 100 viewers was something she had completely forgotten about. She still hesitated when she opened it. This part of her life had been before everything. Before she had a new name, a new look, and a different life. And to return to the young woman she once was, the one who investigated abandoned buildings and only had only 2 people who ever watched her videos and left comments, that was no longer her. But she signed in and was surprised to see over 30 notifications. Apparently, the only 2 people who always watched her videos had become concerned when no more videos came in and had been asking about her in the comments, and Veronica blinked when she saw the messages from the jester. The jester had probably been her first follower. They had supported her when she was just a newbie. They gave her tips on which camera to use and how she could improve. They were funny and made jokes and didn't take anything seriously, but was still the person who taught Veronica everything she knew with comments and DMs. She had been devastated when they suddenly stopped commenting one day, and had been worried as they also didn't reply to DMs. Seeing that in the last month they had watched and commented on all her videos that they hadn't commented on before was something that almost brought tears to her eyes. But as she looked over the notifications, she froze. Not because the messages were moving or because of nostalgia. No, it was because of a DM they sent her a few weeks ago. It was only 2 sentences, but it changed everything. You know, I should change my name to something like Purple Rabbit. After all, the jester is now more your thing, right, Pomni? Ooh, okay. That was oh, this is so short. You know, okay. Apparently, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna go figure this out. This belongs to a series. I'm gonna see the next one. Okay, good news. It's not gonna be a 5 minute video because I found out there's a second part to this, but there's only 2 parts. So we're gonna go with it. It's Jax's point of view, apparently. This is gonna be fun. Okay. How to move on when the circus follows you by AsukaRose. Summary. Set after they left the circus, a little inside look from Jax's point of view. Jax will never forget the day Ribbit abstracted. Even now, 3 years later, he remembered it clearly. But that wasn't true, was it? It had only been 3. No, now it was already 5 months. He remembered how often he had stood in front of that door as if it were a Ribbit's grave. How often, when no one was around, he had sat in front of the door and stared into the void, speaking secrets and wishes that just one person knew about. That now no one knows about. But now no one knows. Because the only person was gone. In all that time, he had never imagined that he would one day stand here, in a body that had once been familiar to him, and now felt so wrong, with too few limbs and false features. Back in front of the door he used to stand in front of, but instead of a door, it was a gravestone with a name on it that was so familiar and yet so wrong. He honestly hadn't thought he would wake up when it was all over. He had been half convinced that the end would turn out to be just another sick game that Kane had thought up. The other half of him had been convinced that he would simply die when it was all over. That his human body had been dead for a long time and there was nothing left. But he woke up. He woke up to white walls and doctors who told him he had been reported missing for 5 months. He woke up to a world where his parents told him that his older brother had been found 3 months before they found him. His brother that was missing for 3 months before Felix disappeared himself. He was so sure he had run away, tried to escape the house that never was a home. But unlike him, his brother was found dead, drowned, but no signs of assault or drugs. The only things found in him that raised the possibility of murder was the fact that he wasn't found near water, and that on his body was a pin that wasn't damaged from water like the rest. A pin that, when the police showed it to him, revealed a familiar cartoon frog. It wasn't hard for him to put 2 and 2 together. After all, he had always compared Ribbit to his brother. But it was still a sick joke. Without his knowledge, he lost someone who was like a brother to him, the same day he lost his actual brother. He wonders if Ribbit had known, but he can't ask him now, can he? The only thing that remains is a stone with the wrong name. Sophia. Felix was sure that he would have hated his dead name on his grave. But there was no point in standing over this grave and hating everything about it. Maybe someday he would create something that wasn't a door with a fake body or a stone with a fake name, but something that would show the person he really was. But for today, he would leave things as they were. After all, he had someone else he wanted to meet today. It didn't take him long to get from the cemetery to the arranged location. After all, he had deliberately chosen a place that wasn't too far away. He approached the park and saw a familiar person sitting on a bench. He He relaxed. He strolled relaxed towards her and smiled as he sat down next to her. The girl smiled back at him nervously. I'm sorry, but I'm waiting for someone. Jax. Felix blinked in confusion before bursting out laughing. The girl seemed confused for a moment before her eyes widened in surprise. Wait, Jax? Her voice sounded shrill, and he laughed a little more before calming down. Long time no see, Pom Pom. He wiped the tears from his eyes that had come from laughing as she continued to look at him with wide eyes. Her gaze lingered on his pass, which he had been wearing around his neck since morning and had forgotten to take off. Why do you have a college pass? Okay. So that is the actual end. This time, this one was also 5 minutes. Okay. You know what? At least it's not one video that's only 5 minutes. That would suck for you guys. Oh yeah, so this is the Amazing Digital Circus. I have a feeling most of you will know what this is. If not, I'd genuinely be surprised. But if you do not know what this is, if you somehow managed to miss it, go look it up. It's really great. It's wacky as all hell, and you get really confused. But hey, the story's good. They're all trapped. They can't get out. The spec they get out, which is lovely. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. Tell me what you thought in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.